Good afternoon. Habari ya jioni. My name is Joyce Wanjiko Kamau. I work with CIC Insurance in partnership with Harambee Sacco, which is our sacco. And today we have an exciting topic. Tunataka kuongea kuhusu bima. When I talk of bima, tunamaanisha insurance. Na insurance is a very important part of our financial planning. And that is what we want to talk about today. Sijui kama kuna some of our members who have insurance and we want to know what is it that the insurance is helping you about, what is it that we don't know about insurance, na tunaweza kusoma na tuweze kujipanga kulingana na masomo ya watoto wetu, kulingana na retirement zetu. And before we enter into the products zenye nataka kuongea about, can we subscribe, we share, and also we leave a comment on our page. And also remember to tell a friend, to tell another friend to subscribe to our channel so that we can be able to engage in this great conversation. Nikitaka kuongea kuhusu insurance and tukiongea about pesa, wakati pesa imekuwa mentioned, all of us, we want to hear what is it that you have for us, what is it that you want us to get to know. Na kuna mambo zingine ambazo hatufundishwi tukiwa shuleni. We are never taught how to spend the money that we get, but most of the time we find that we are taught how to make the money, but how to spend the money we are never taught. Leo tukitaka kuongelelea, kama most of us najua sisi ni wazazi, nikiwemo mimi kama mmoja wenyu. Mimi ni mzazi, na wakati nikiwa mzazi najiuliza, mimi ninataka mtoto wangu asomee shule gani? Ninataka huyo mtoto aende primary ama aende academy? Kuna wakati huanga tunaambiwa wale watoto wenye walisomea primary, there's a way they do things, na wale wa academy, na kuna wale wa group of schools, kuna wale wa polling stations. Where do you want your child to go to? Tunakuja tunasema, how can I start planning for the education of my child as early as now? Na usiseme mimi niko my child is in high school, ako form 4, mimi ni kama nimechelewa. Hapana, this is the right time. Kuna mwingine they have just gotten employed. This is the right time. We start planning, how much can I start keeping aside so that by the time mtoto wangu anaenda high school, huyo mtoto wakati anaenda university, huyo mtoto wakati anaenda senior high school, how best can I have planned for that child? Then the other thing we ask ourselves, the reason as to why I am working today, it is because I have those goals that I want to achieve. I might be as young as 22 years, and I know in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, there's a plan that I want to achieve. And this plan that I want to achieve, I don't want to take it as a loan. I don't want to take a loan. I want to say, this is some money I as Joyce, I am saving for me. It is not about my child, it is not about my parent. Ni nini hiyo ninajiwekea aside ikiwa ni ya Joyce. I as Joyce Kamau. Ni yangu na ni yangu na ni yangu. I want to go on a holiday. I want to go to Dubai. See, wakati every other time we are toiling, we are sacrificing, but there's nothing that you're keeping aside for yourself. And these are some of the questions I want us to ask ourselves. How well have we prepared in terms of that? And one of the reasons as to why some things come and beat us, it is whereby the reason as to why right now your employer, even by the time you are being recruited, maybe to become a policeman, the disciplined force, walikuangalia mpaka your fitness. Wakasema macho yako inaona vizuri, masikio yako inasikia vizuri, your height is good, you can be able to run. What if I lost my eyes? Will my employer still feel that I am bringing value to him? When I lose maybe my both hands, will my employer still retain me? Ama atasema, now we can dismiss this person based on invalidity. Maybe I become disabled. Will my employer still have me to be with them? those are the main questions that we should ask ourselves. What if I know today in the morning as you left home, even from wherever you are, whenever you leave home, if you're leaving a family, you always leave them, unawaachia leo 200, hii ni ya kununua maziwa, hii ni ya mkate. Ama ukienda nyumbani unakuja na mkate, wanajua dadi atakuja na mkate, mama atakuja na mkate, na ukaenda ukose kurudi. What if you are to go on a journey that you never come back? Maybe your maker tells you, "Hi Joyce, kindly come, we stay together." What happens? Who do you leave your children to? Where do you leave those people who depend on you? I know even those people who don't have people depending on them directly for education, we all have parents. We have those loved ones. We have siblings that we are taking care of. And those are some of the areas that we really need to think about and talk about them. Now, as Harambee Sacco, which is your sacco, what is it that they have for you? Most of the time, we say, yes, we have gotten good facilities, they are giving us better dividends and all that. But after we have accumulated wealth, we need to protect whatever it is that we have. And we usually say, the biggest asset to your family. Unaona wakati uko na kagari, ako kagari hata huwezi toka kwa gate kama haina insurance. But you, yourself, you just walk. You are walking risk. You don't have insurance. We have to protect ourselves as the biggest asset for our loved ones. And how do we do that? Whenever we take a policy that we have taken, this policy, it gives us a life cover. And why do you need these policies? The reason as to why we need these policies, we know that there's a time in our lives where we just ask for money, we are given. We ask, we are given. And after that time has gone, sasa tunaingia wakati mwingine ni sisi tunaitishwa. Tunaitishwa, tunapeana. Tunaitishwa, tunapeana. Tunafanya kazi, tunapata pesa. Na kuna wakati utafika tena tushindwe na hiyo kufanya kazi. Hiyo wakati tena tutataka kukulia wakati tulikuwa tunafanya kazi. In China, we usually say the young age, the old age, it's on the young age. But now me considering Joyce Wanjiku Kamau, you can imagine now in China, you can translate that and tell a friend to translate for you what that means. It means that we start planning as early as now. Wakati niko na mtoto wangu anahitaji kusoma, huyo mtoto purely ana depend na mimi kama mzazi wake. What insurance comes and does, inasema wakati nimechukua insurance, inanipa kitu tunaita cover amount, na hiyo kitu tunaitanga sum assured. Hiyo cover amount inasema mimi masomo ya mtoto wangu, it might cost me 2 million. It might cost me 500,000. It might cost me 1 million. Tunajiuliza kwa hii 1 million, how will I get to achieve that 1 million? Ninasema, what we'll do, this is the time that I am working. This time that I am working, I can be able to save as little as that 2,000. I save that 2,000, I have 20 years, I have 18 years that I can start saving with CIC in partnership with Harambee Sacco. Na tusisahau kusubscribe as we are speaking. Let's subscribe and also remember to share so that we can encourage more people to understand what insurance is all about. Now I decide to save this 2,000 because my child is very young. It will mean I'll save for the next like 14 years, and then by that time, when we come to that time, CIC takes up and Harambee Sacco, they take it up to start servicing the school fees. At that time, I can now relax kwa kuwa nilijipanga mapema, nikaanza kujipanga wakati mtoto alikuwa mdogo. We ask ourselves, pia kuna wale watu ambao pia tume-advance in age, watoto wetu wame-advance in age. Do we just leave them like that and we say, nyinyi mlichelewa hamkujipanga mapema? No, we still have something for you. Tunawaambia, you can save for a minimum of 5 years. And then in these 5 years, utakuwa sasa unaweka pesa, and then from there, we start paying school fees for your child. And why should I take insurance? Instead, I can even walk to my sacco. I open an account for education. I can walk to a bank. I open an account for Jumbo Junior. I start depositing money. But are we disciplined? How well will I say that hii pesa sitaiguza? Hii pesa ni ya mtoto. Na ninaona kuna kadil moto moto. Yeah? Kuna kaplot moto moto kako mahali. I will say, let me run, get this facility, get this deal, and then I go back to saving. But whenever we are saving in an insurance company, one thing that we give you the discipline. In that, hii account ni account ya mtoto. We can only be able to access this money wakati huyo mtoto anafaa kuenda shule. And one thing it helps us make sure that the goal that we had for educating the child, it has been met. Then the other thing that an insurance gives you, it gives you the protection. As I said earlier, all of us have a risk. And this risk is whereby I can fall here and unasikia Joyce, hata tulikuwa tunaongea tu na yeye vizuri hapa akaanguka tu. Death can come. Kitambo, when we were very young, not like now, we used to say these things, we used to see like it's only the old people who die, akina shosho, like there was a way that we used to believe that there's a way that these things do happen. But currently, things are happening to everyone. You hear you are with someone, and then the other day, that person is no longer there. So we also cover you against such uncertainties. And what we usually do, the cover that we give you, tunakupea kitu inaitwa sum assured. That becomes your net worth, depending on how much you're saving. Kama una save 5,000, maybe we will give you 1 million. We say, Joyce is saving 5,000, Joyce is saving 10,000, kwa hivyo tumempea cover ya 1 million. If Joyce was to maybe pass on today, we are supposed to pay her family that 1 million, and then at the same time we shall still pay school fees for her child mwenye alikuwa amechukulia hiyo education policy. Many are the times we have lost our colleagues, we've lost family members, and we know how the burden becomes. Especially the people who suffer, they could be your children, they could be maybe your wife, maybe your husband. And you find with an education policy, this is a product ambayo hakuna mtu mwingine anaweza ifikia. And what am I saying when I'm saying that? From where I am married, maybe the family can say, this lady, there are families that we have seen, na usione kama it's not something that happens, ambao wanasema, this person, we don't want her here. Na unafukuzwa huyo msichana, anafukuzwa na watoto wake, juu bwanake hayuko. When we have an education policy, there's nobody who can touch that policy until huyo mtoto afike kuenda shule na alipiwe school fees. That is the other benefit. When it comes to these other parts of investment, those other ones can be touched by people. You can hear, I bought land, maybe kuna kesi, such things happening. And then it puts you in a compromising situation. And maybe even the education of a child, it is affected. But with an education policy, the main goal and the main purpose is usually achieved by the end of the day. So that is another reason as to why we need to take an insurance policy. The other thing that an insurance policy helps you with, it covers you against illnesses. Ni vile tu sasa siwezi wasikia mkisema about illnesses. And the illnesses that we talk about ni magonjwa kama cancer, stroke, renal failure, coronary surgery, heart attack. In case of such illnesses, we know, like now, I think all of us are now exposed, and we know what happens when such illnesses catch any of our family members. One, they drain us of money. Once they drain us, number two, they also drain us emotionally. and psychologically we are all drained. And it does not only drain the family member, it drains especially even the friends, even the circle around you. Everyone is affected. We usually say there is the affected and also there is the infected and also the affected. So all of us are affected. When such illnesses, maybe you are diagnosed with any of those illnesses, and you are a member of you have taken any of our policies, like an education policy, it will mean that now you will not continue saving that money. And what happens? CAC comes in handy. They service that policy to maturity, and then we make sure that we give the returns that are supposed to be given to the customer, na tuna make sure huyo mtoto wako amesoma. Kwa hivyo what we are doing, unachukua risk yenye uko nayo, unatupatia sisi, we manage the risk for you, and we make sure that your child is educated the right way and according to how you wanted it to happen. That is number one. I know the reason as to why I really love talking about an education policy ni wakati kama mimi kama mzazi, the best thing I feel I can give to my child is good education, because right now we don't have land. Ama nyinyi mko na mashamba, zile mashamba kubwa, mko na mbuzi, mko na ng'ombe, big herds, we no longer have those things. So whatever it is that we have for us, ni hiyo kazi yenye unarauka kila asubuhi, that is your shamba. And from that shamba is where we can be able to part with 2,000, we can be able to part with 3,000, we can be able to part with that 10,000 for the benefit of our child. Because we usually say, nataka mtoto wangu aende shule mzuri kuliko yenye nilisoma, apate mambo mazuri kuliko ambayo nilipata. That is the duty and the feeling of any parent. And despite the fact that we don't have all those other things, we can maximize on whatever it is that we have, and that is our payslip. That is the business that we are doing that is giving us an income. That is what can be able to secure for our children a good future in terms of their education. Then we come to another product. That one we have closed shortly for on education policy. Now we come to another product. There's this category of people who they don't have people depending on them for education. We are working, yes, but we don't have people depending on us for education, or else we have worked for quite some time. Our children have gone to universities, tumemaliza kusoma. Sasa sisi tunaangalia hivi na retirement inatuambia, hi Joyce, how are you? You're about to come here and retire. What is it that we have for you? We have another good product that we call a Smart Saver. With a Smart Saver, it is a product that helps you to meet your goals without being interrupted in the course of the term. We have a term from 10 years all the way to 25. I say, I have just gotten my first job. I am 22 years, I am 25 years, I am 30 years. This is my first job. And I know my employer has started keeping for me something. I know there's something that I am keeping with my circle so that it can build me dividends, it can allow me to take good loans, I can be able to develop myself. I take up that particular product. Then I ask myself, why should I take insurance? Is it too early for me to start investing in insurance? It is not too early for you, because you have those goals. I want, in the next 10 years, I want to have accumulated 500 that I'll not pick us up as a loan. And then on top of that 500,000, I also know at the back of my mind, I know I also have a risk that I am working with. How have I protected myself from anything that might come and interrupt my income? That is where Smart Saver comes in. We start saving for you pole 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 pole. Unaeka 1,000 zako 3 kila mwezi, miaka 10 ikiisha unapewa kapesa kako. Kama nika facility unataka kununua, unaenda unanunua. Kama nika asset unataka kununua, unakimbia unanunua. And we also say, kwa wakati huo, wakati una save na sisi, that time we have given you a life cover. And this life cover that we give you, hatukupei kama una save 3,000 tunasema you are worth 3,000. Hapana. We tell you if you're saving that 3,000 and the cover that we have given you is for 500,000, it means if anything were to happen to you, if anything were to happen to me as Joyce, CIC and Harambee, they are supposed to give me 500,000. Was it in my second month? Was it in my third month? Was it in my fifth year? That is what CIC is liable to give me. Reason, I gave them my risk for them to manage and take care of me. Other people who are about to retire, we feel maybe I was so busy educating my children, I was so busy trying to invest in property, I was so busy building a home. But am I going to retire rich in property and poor in cash? Yeah? Whatever it is that I'll be given by my employer, is it sufficient? If God would bless me with like 40 more years, after I'm 60, I die at 100. Ama nitasema mimi nilizaa mapema, hao watoto wanichunge. We are not in that era. Even from where I sit, the kind of money that maybe I send my parent on every month, after every month, if I were to calculate, is it sufficient? Inaweza kuwa inatosha kweli huyo mzazi kumservice their needs for the month? I am sure even yourself you've said it's a no. Then, do you think that our children will be a bit different, or they will be more different from where we are, from what we are? I don't think there'll be a big difference, because the difference will only be, it can only, with the generation that we are raising, maybe watasema huyo mtu ajipange. Yeah? So, and we usually say a fruit does not fall far from the tree. Ask yourself, how much do you send your parents at the end of every month? That question, don't answer me, but your child will be more or less what you are, and the much that you're sending is the much they'll be sending you. So what we are advocating for is, as much as your employer is putting aside something for you and you're planning for your retirement, evaluate and see, is this enough? It is not enough. Before my employer gives me my pension, how long will it take? During this time, where will I be eating from? Because we still have our responsibilities to take care of. And you remember, after you go for retirement, your employer will no longer be giving you medical. Medical will be on you. Your employer will not be giving you that income apart from the annuity yenye atakupea kidogo. And for those people who are in business, we might not get anything from that. So how well have I prepared for that time? How well am I armed when it comes to that time? It is now that we start planning. I know I have 20 years to retire. What am I going to keep aside so that by the time I'm going for retirement, it can even come a year earlier, so that I start planning my exit. Others say, I only have 10 years. We are still not late. We have a minimum term of 10 years that you can start saving the 10,000, the 5,000, the 15,000, the 100,000 to top up whatever it is that you have for your retirement. And those are some of the products that we want to talk about and we want to give you, because they'll benefit you and they'll also benefit this society. And the minimum that you can be able to save for that particular product is usually also 2,000, the same way as the education policy. And you can have as many as possible. You can top up whenever you want to top up, and we can engage more on these particular products. I think according to my time, I think we can start taking questions. If we have any questions that are coming from your end, we can take questions so that we get to understand more about life insurance, get to answer the most asked quarterly or yearly or half yearly. There are those areas that we give you a leeway on how you can be able to save. I can see there's someone that is asking. I can see some comments here. For education policy, what is the advantage? Currently, I'm doing fixed deposit for 3 years. Why should I join you? Thank you so much. That's a very good question and a valid one. When we are doing fixed deposit is very good way of investment because it gives you very good interest. But we ask ourselves, when we talk of finances, let me start from there. When we talk of finances, we are talking about 3 pillars of finances. And the first pillar that we talk about accumulation of wealth. Then number 2, we talk about the number 2 thing that we talk about protection of the wealth that we have accumulated. And then number 3, we talk about distribution of wealth. Number 1, when we are talking about our number 1, now this is where I want to answer this question. This is when we are accumulating the funds. And when we are accumulating the funds, it is when we are still active, working on whatever it is that we work to generate income. That is accumulation of wealth. After we have accumulated that wealth, we come to protect this asset that is generating this wealth. And this asset is you. That is why you need to take an insurance, because your income is very important, not only to you, but also to the people who are depending on that income. If anything were to happen to you, what happens to them? For fixed deposit, they'll just give you that money. When we are talking about an education policy, what an education policy does, it gives you the life cover. It gives you sum assured. If at all I am saving 5,000, it gives me a sum assured of 500,000. If anything were to happen to me, the first month after I have only saved 5,000, it says that education policy ya mtoto wangu itaendelea na wakati wake wa kusoma atasoma without any interruption to the education of that child. How is that happening? It is because I have taken my risk and I have given it to CIC so that they can manage that risk, so that anything that can happen to me and affect the education of my child, it has been catered with. It gives you is the discipline. The discipline in that if I don't save this month, next month decides to hold their funds, and in case of anything, they can be able to sort from their reserves, whereby this money is not money that they've invested in long-term investment, but they know that in case of anything that will come up in the organization, they can be able to access the fund themselves and sort out the issues that they have. But those other people who decide to do otherwise, they invest in other organizations. But that one we can get more information on it, because that is a particular product that is usually held for a particular organization. I don't know if we have any other question that is coming up. We still have time to take more questions as we educate ourselves on insurance. Okay, because I can see like I have very good students that are understanding exactly what we are talking about, and they don't have questions. Maybe there could be someone who's wondering how are the policies structured, the policies that you have with CIC. What is the longest term that I can be able to take? What is the shortest term that I can be able to take? How old should I be? All those questions. We come to answer those questions. Our product for education, we call it Academia Policy. In this Academia Policy, it is a product that is designed for having a minimum of 5 years and in this, that is being the minimum, and then we have a maximum of 14 years. It means you can save for as short as 5 years, and you can save for as long as 14 years for an education policy. And the best thing about having an education policy that we have with CIC in partnership with Harambee Sacco, it is the beauty about it. Why CIC and why not any other insurance company? One benefit is after we start paying school fees for you, you stop paying the premiums to us. And what is a premium? Premium ni kumaanisha ile pesa ambayo ninaeka kwa kila mwezi huwa tunaita premium kwa insurance. Kwa hivyo hiyo pesa ninaweza chukua pesa yangu and I start investing in something else. CIC wananilipia shule na mimi pesa yangu I am investing elsewhere, because once a policy has gone, we say we now come to a premium holiday whereby we can be doing other things with that investment as CIC is taking care of our education. Then the other thing that it has, we have waiver of premium on disability. It has these options whereby you don't have to pay an extra premium in case someone becomes disabled. And how can someone become disabled? I can either fall and maybe I break my legs, I become permanently disabled, or maybe I can have an illness that leads to disability and I am not able to continue working. Therefore, I become disabled. CIC has given us that cover without an additional premium. Therefore, we still cover you for that. And I can see someone asking a question, and they're asking, do you offer annuity? Yes, we do offer annuity at CIC. We can have joint annuity. We can have single annuity, whereby it is either the person who has retired is the person who will be paid, and someone can choose in my absence, it is my wife who will be paid. I can decide I want to have this annuity paying me for 10 years guaranteed, for 5 years guaranteed, for 20 years guaranteed, for a whole of the rest of my life. Even if I live for 100 years, it pays me for life. So I hope that question is well answered, that we do offer annuity depending on how you want us to give it to you. And then we can get this, we can get more information from our circle, because we are in partnership and we are doing this through them. And then we have Christopher Mwangi, another follower of ours, asking for health insurance. What is the minimum for a family of 3? I think the question that this question from Mwangi, I'll answer it in a broad manner so that we can be able to understand. For a family of 3, it will depend on several factors. Mwangi, do you want it's me, my wife, and my child? And what cover do I want? I want a cover of 1 million. I want a cover of 10 million. I want a cover of 5 million. Or I am working with this particular budget. That is the other thing. And then the third thing that it will also factor in, how old am I? At what age is the principal? That will be another factor. And do I need both outpatient and inpatient? And from there, I can be able to tell this is the match that you'll need to part with. But I can tell you for sure, for a cover of maybe 3, you can just give us the budget that you have, and then we can see what you have. We can come to your inbox, and then we are able to do for you a quotation, and then you see if at all your budget is fitting with what we have. I think that is well answered. Maybe Christopher, you can tell us if at all we'll need to get back to you and give you more clarity on the same. And as I was speaking about disability, I can now again add the same on the other covers that we have. When we have this education policy, it also gives you cover on personal accidents. And what do we mean by a personal accident? It means Joyce can fall, can slide, and then usikie mgongo yake imevunjika, her spine has been affected, her spine is no longer working, then she becomes an invalid. What happens if that happens? If that happens, we come in handy, we service the policy for you, and we are able to meet the education of the child as we had anticipated at the beginning. And what usually happens, I know most of us, we keep visiting the branches in our circles. I know we keep visiting, and maybe we want to make an inquiry. Whenever we come to the circle, we have people who are seated there. They'll take you through, they'll do for you the quotation, you'll give them their your details. They'll be able to advise you according to where you sit, according to what you need. What is the exact thing that they should give you? What is the best product that they can be able to give you? We have people that are seated in the circles in our branches, and they can be able to answer all these questions, and they help you on how to join, how to start, how to make the payments, and you can be able to get assisted and get sorted on these other areas. And there's someone who's asking, how do I register for health insurance online? I think the best thing that you can do when it comes to insurance, insurance is usually, it is technical in nature. I can answer, I think that is the best word I can use. It is very technical in nature. You might answer, you might fill in the forms online, they get to the back office, and then we find someone is gotten to maybe answer you or maybe advise you further. But that is usually not the best, because once you get a one-on-one interaction with someone, or maybe someone guides you on call, they can be able to tell you, these are the premiums that you'll need to pay for this particular cover that you want. And then you're able to agree which is the mode of payment, the best mode of payment that I can use to service my insurance. We can be able to have that conversation. Is it done annually? Is it done monthly? Is it done semi-annually? What are the options that I have? Are there IPF? Can I get money from my circle and then I pay maybe in long term? I pay with a small interest, or do I have to fund the whole amount altogether? So what the reason as to why I'm saying this, it's because the back and forth that you'll have online, it might be a lot other than getting to talk to someone from our circle, and then they are able to guide us. This is what exactly we need from you, and this is it. This is the quote, and this is the form, and then they guide you on how to fill that form. So I would advise, from where I sit, I think to avoid the back and forth, it's better to address, to deal with someone, either on a call. We can do a webinar, we can do a Teams, we can do a Zoom, we can do a Google Meet, if at all maybe you're far, and then we can give you further guidance on the same. I hope I have been able to answer that question comprehensively. Okay, thank you so much. When you see me smiling, know that the people I have around are good people, and they're making me smile, and they're telling me, Joyce, you're doing a very good job. So that's the reason as to why I'm smiling. And the last thing that I would really want to talk for the remaining minutes, it's for us to understand insurance is very important. And particularly when we talk of insurance, in this case, we are talking about life insurance. Life insurance is very important because it talks about the life, the graph of life. And in each and every graph of life that you're into, you all need to have a life insurance product. Whether you have people depending on you or you don't have anyone depending on you, life insurance is very, very important. And you find that there are other benefits that come with these policies. You can be able to even access a loan after 3 years. And some products you can even be able to access a loan after 2 years. And these loans, they're usually, you can decide to pay however you want with a maximum 3 years. But we don't loan you like the way the SACCO does. SACCO, I know they even give us 5 times, they give us 4 times, but this one we call it a very soft loan, whereby you need some money very urgently. Hautaki mambo ya guarantors, hutaki watu wajue unataka kuchukua ka loan, unakimbia unaambia Joyce, I need like 30,000, I need like 100,000. I take that money, I do what I want, and then I return it at my own pace. And if you are not able to return it, tutadeduct wakati tutakuwa tunakupea maturity. That is when we shall deduct that money. So you can be able to access that. And after 3 years, after 2 years, our policies do not lapse. What do I mean that a policy does not lapse after 2 or 3 years? It means that even if someone is not able to service that policy, we usually convert that policy to something we call paid up. Tunasema ile pesa, nilikuwa nimesave 105,000. Hii pesa yote, and I was saving for 5 years. Nililipa miaka 2 nikashindwa. So tunachukua hiyo pesa 105, tunaispread mpaka 5 years. So tuna reduce cover yako, and then at maturity tunaanza kukupea pesa as you had planned, and you don't lose any money. That is another benefit of converting the policy to paid up. And sometimes, even after, you can give us the leeway to convert the policy to paid up, or else you can be able, that policy can even take a loan on itself. Tuone huyu customer amekaa for 3 months, hajaweza kuservice, then the policy can take a loan, pay itself, so that why does it take a loan for itself? It is because it needs to stay in force. And when we say a policy has to stay in force, tunamaanisha if anything happens to this customer, lazima tumlipe huyo customer, because the policy was in force. So all of us, every other time, let us have insurance, let's have life insurance, because let's not forget that we are the biggest asset to ourselves. We are the biggest asset to our loved ones, those people who depend on our income. They depend on our good health. They depend on the strength that we have. Ati saa hizi ninaweza kaa hivi niwape story ya insurance. Hiyo mdomo yangu wanahitaji sana. Hiyo mkono yako ndio wanahitaji sana. So wakati mkono wako unaweza kuwa umeumia, then it means financial status zao watu. I always look at someone, maybe I can give a short story. From where I sit, I lost my brother back in 2018. When I lost my brother, he was the breadwinner of his family. At that particular time, firstborn was in campus, his secondborn was in high school. He has just cleared high school. And then his lastborn was graduating to grade 1. My brother was carried by his friend. They got into an accident. Alikuwa amebebwa nyuma. Pap, my brother passed on. Now we are here as the family. We are wondering. We love his wife very much. She's such a good lady. But me as Joyce, as much as I love her, siwezi weza kumfacilitate na anything. Siwezi cater for her family. Siwezi cater for the needs that she has. And I tell you for sure, the first thing that really helped her kuingiza huyo secondborn campus na kulipia huyo mwenye alikuwa shule campus, it was the policy I had given him for the lastborn, huyo mwenye alikuwa anaingia grade 1. And that is the time I was asking myself, why didn't I give him more policies? But you know, we never see these things happening to us. Tunaonanga this can happen to, I don't know to who, because we don't even have anyone that we can prefer it happens to them. But when it hits home, that's when it hits very hard. And you're asking yourself, why didn't I do things different? So this is the time that we take up this policy, not because we are dying in the next minute, not because we are dying in the next 5 years. No, sisi tunaishi miaka mingi sana. Mungu anatubariki, watoto wetu tuwalee, walee watoto wao, tuitwe great and great and great grandmother, great and great great grandfather. But we know we don't have very good discipline, and we need to be protected at all times. Wakati tunatoka hivi na umbrella, haukuangi unasema leo kunanyesha, hapana. but at that time yenye mvua imeanza kunyesha ndio unasemanga kisasa nitafanya aje. It is the same thing. Let us prepare ourselves right now. Let's make hay while the sun is still shining, so that we can be able to make a change and be the change that we want to our families, to the people who are depending on us. Let's not just walk like this, not taking care of ourselves. Let's all have a life insurance cover, because it's going to take us to the next level. It's a form of investment, because that money, when you get that kasam assured, you get ka 1 million. If you are to be given a 1 million right now that you started saving 10 years ago, that you started saving 20 years ago, you want to tell me 1 million will be small money, it will not do much? Hebu nipe sahi, nikuonyeshe what I can be able to do with that million. So today is the day. Right now, start investing small amounts, and it is going to amount to something good, to something big that will help you to educate your children, to retire well, to achieve those long-term goals, and to give you a life cover on disability, life cover on death, life cover on accident, life cover on critical illness. So let's take our care of ourselves. And now I can also take any other question that has come, so that we are able to close the session in style, having answered all the questions that we had. And let's remember to subscribe. Let's remember to share. Let's remember to tell a friend, because the moment you know about something and you don't share this information, it might not help you much. Na rafiki yako usipomwambia, if anything were to happen to your friend, the first person that their children will come to, they'll come first to you and ask you, wewe ulikuwa rafiki ya baba yetu, wewe ulikuwa rafiki ya mama yetu, sahi hatuna school fees, sahi hatuna pesa ya nyumba. What is it that you can be able to do for us? So let us make sure that we are telling a friend about the knowledge that we've gotten, and let's make sure that we are taking insurance. And something else that you might forget to, I might forget to say, is that insurance is better having been taken 10 years ago. The next other good time is now, because insurance inaendanga na age. The younger you are, the better it is. The longer period you take, the cheaper it is. So the earlier we start, the better for us. We shall get better returns, we shall get cheaper rates, and then we shall be able to start saving as early as now and get to enjoy the cover as soon as possible. And maybe a question that maybe you have not asked and I need to answer is, how long does the cover start? Immediately we give you insurance. Ukiwa ni accident is covered immediately. It does not have a waiting period. Like today tuseme nimechukua insurance leo, and then nikishuka tu hapa stage insurance, kama nilikuwa nimechukua cover amount ya 1 million, they'll pay my family 500,000 immediately after they have filed the claim form, and then mtoto wangu wakati wake wa kusoma, they pay school fees as it was my desire. And remember, I have only paid for that 1 month. That is the reason as to why insurance is very important, because of that life cover. If at all maybe it's a natural death, in insurance we classify deaths. I know in these other areas of life we don't usually classify death, but in insurance we have accidental death and we have natural death. Ukichukua insurance, make sure you live for more than 3 months. Usijaribu kwa alafu ukufe. Please don't. Usilale ukose kuamuka. Natural death, we have 3 months waiting period, of which CIC is good, because in the industry, other organizations, they are giving 6 months, but for CIC, for natural death, at least you should have served that policy for at least minimum 3 months for us to cover on death, on disability, for our life policies. And we usually say education, the reason as why we have a child, it is because it is for the benefit of that child. Hiyo education policy haiwezi guzwa na mtu yeyote. And from there, let's understand importance of insurance. Let's cover ourselves. Let's plan for the future of our children. Let's plan for our retirement. Let's plan for our long-term goals. And in a nutshell, I think that we can be able to get more information from our branches, our Harambee Sacco branches, and we make sure that we subscribe. And we have come to the end of our presentation for today. And let's have bima. Insurance ni muhimu, bima ni muhimu sana. So let's subscribe, let's take insurance, let's cover ourselves. Let's not be walking risks as we walk, as we do our work. Let's know that we are the biggest asset to ourselves. Thank you so much and have a blessed evening.